Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to Webflowable's YouTube channel. I'm Louise, and Monday is cast on day. I am going to chat to you guys about what yarn you were voting for. So, this is the yarn. This was what was up in the poll on Instagram, Facebook, and here on YouTube for you to vote on. The yellow or the teal. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And because we weren't here, we didn't end up having a video last week. We'll talk about last week's voting and what the results were. And I have a few projects that I have been working on this week, and I will show those to you, show you some progress. And then we'll chat about what you guys all have been working on. So I hope it has been a great start to your Monday. Another week has started full of knitting possibilities. So let's talk about the voting. I was away last week on vacation and we went to a couple yarn stores, and I came back with 3 skeins of new yarn. So these 2 skeins are for a hat for the Fiber Friends challenge. So teal, yellow. I don't know if these guys actually have. Oh, this one does have. Okay, so this is, what's it say on here? So it is Brooklyn Tweed, and it is their Tones line. It's American Columbia wool. So on the About Band, they're talking about how this yarn is very proudly made in the U.S. The yarn, the dyeing, the spinning, everything was done in the U.S. So it does. It says sourced, spun, and dyed in the USA. And this one here is called Vacay, which I thought was very aptly named since I was getting it while I was on vacation. And of course, I found this really pretty yellow tone here, and it was called Zest. So I picked up those to do a hat. These are both 50-gram balls, and they are worsted weight. The pattern that I'm doing is calling for DK, but there is a lot of sizes, so I'm going to go down a size, change my needle. I don't know. And somehow magically it's all going to work out to a hat that's going to fit somebody. I haven't decided if this will be a hat for me, or I might just do a little hat for my granddaughter. So these were what you were voting for: teal and Zest. Vacay and Zest. This does totally look like vacation, sitting poolside or by a lake somewhere, doesn't it? Hi, everybody. Welcome. I see some people coming in here into the chat saying hello. So let me see the voting. We had our typical number of votes like we always do. We were always like around 110 votes every Monday on all of the places. Did I say where they all were? If anybody's new here, you can always go and you can vote multiple times. So you can vote here on YouTube. There is a spot, a community post that you can vote. Facebook, and 2 places on Instagram, stories and in the grid post. So, Kay is voting for teal. Okay. There was a lot of comments. There's a few comments, more than one, saying, have you thought about doing the 2 together? And I did. Totally. I think I'm not sure which one I picked up first. I might have went with the yellow because you guys all know I'm always drawn to yellow, but I really like teals and aqua colors too. And then when I was holding them together, I thought the same thing. I'm like, oh yeah, this would look really nice together. I haven't done the black and white photo test, but I'm pretty sure that these would look good together. Actually, maybe we could just do it right now. I have not knit with this yarn. Has anybody knit with this? Let me know in the comments if you've knit with it before. I am trying to take my own words of wisdom and not go gung-ho. Sometimes I am known for when I find something new and exciting, I just want to, hold on, let me just take a picture. I want to, buy it in like every single color and come home with 50 balls of a brand new yarn that I have never knit with before. And then a couple of times I have got a surprise. We'll call it a surprise when I start knitting with this yarn that I think is going to be absolutely wonderful. It's going to be my new forever best favoriteest yarn in the whole entire world. Start knitting with it and I don't like it. It's either splitty or I don't know. I don't know what the reasons were in the past. And then I'm like, darn, now I have all this yarn. And that doesn't happen often, but it has happened a couple times. So I just thought, when I'm trying out brand new yarns, I should contain my excitement and just buy 1 or 2 balls. Sorry, you guys. It looks like I am like sitting on a beach somewhere, with my hair blowing in the wind, right? It is super hot, and I've got the fan sitting here beside me. So, um, anyway, so yes, I contained my excitement, and I only came home with these 2 skeins of yarn. But I have plans that if I like this, I would love to basically get every color that there is. So we'll talk next week a little bit more about the yarn because I didn't have too much time to investigate this yarn, but um the lady at the yarn shop was so wonderful and helpful, and she said, well, how this yarn is dyed a little differently, and the zest is what they call overtone, and the vacay is undertone. So I did a little looking about how their dye process. So once we know which one I'm going to knit with, I'll cast on, and next week maybe we'll chat a little bit more about the dye process. I'll do a little reading and we can chat about that. Yes, Jen, it is wool and spun. Yes, and that is what I want. That's what I wanted. That's what wool and spun. Now, Jen, you're a spinner, so you can probably give a little bit more insight into this. But I have think I have knit. What did I knit? There was yarn I'd had knit with that was wool and spun, and it's so light, so light. Like a skein of this just feels like you're holding a cloud, like air. I mean, it's light, and Jen says I spent all of my yarn wool and spun. You get so much yardage for the weight of the yarn. Well, I was with a friend when we were shopping for this, and after we were walking back to the car, and that's why I said to her, I'm like, hold this. I'm like, it's woolen spun versus worsted spun, and I don't know what the percentage is, but I want to say like 95% of the yarn is worsted spun. Pretty much everything that we knit with, I think, is worsted spun. So, but woolen spun, now is it spun? It's like something like is it twisted the opposite way? Like there's a Z twist and an S twist. Um, that's something else that I want to do a little bit of research, and we can maybe chat a little bit more about it next week. But you guys know I have an interest in spinning. I have a number of drop spindles. I have a couple of spinning wheels, and that is now really piqued my interest in getting my spinning wheel out and doing some spinning to spin woolen spun yarn for myself because I really, really enjoy knitting with it. So Jen said I would love knitting with this, and I'm sure, oh, Daisy's here. That I'm really, really going to enjoy this. Um, okay, Jen says it's the way you let the twist into the yarn. She's no expert though. Okay, well, I most definitely am not either, but I want to kind of investigate that. So maybe there'll be some posts about spinning too. So we'll wait and see. Wait and see. Again, something I'm getting all super excited about, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm just going to buy all the fiber. I'm thinking about wool stock. You know, the wool shows that are coming up in the fall, and I'm like, I can just stock up on fiber. Not that I don't already have a whole cabinet full, and I'm just going to spin everything woolen, and then I may try it and be like, oh my gosh, this is like way too hard. I can't do it. So stay tuned. Stay tuned. Okay, so as for the voting. Couple people said, would you do them together? Oh, I took the picture. Hold on, you guys. Yeah, there was more than one. Daisy, sweetie, you're going to have to sit down here. A couple people had asked about doing them together. One person said do them together with a mosaic pattern, which would look wonderful. And okay, so let me see here. So you guys all know the trick, right? You take a colored picture and then you edit it, which, hold on. Oops. Okay, here we go. On my phone, it's go to filters, and then you scroll all the way back, all the way to the end where it's black, and then you can see what it looks like black and white. And if there's good contrast, then you know it's going to show up a really, really well. Good contrast for colorwork projects. So mosaic, stranded, fair isle, you know, all those kind of things. So anyway, so there is good contrast here. So it would be a great colorwork project. But this hat is knit in one color, which is why I wanted solids or tonals, no variegated, because I wanted something that the pattern was going to really pop with. And um, I also wanted a light color, so I didn't go with navy. Let me just do a quick, if I can go into Ravelry, I'll show it. Here it is. This is the hat that I want to do is the Nydia hat, designed by Vanessa Smith. So Vanessa is a designer who falls under the BIPOC designer category, and that's the challenge for the Fiber Friends this month. So I think this was in one of the lists that Asa had put together for Jocelyn and Diana's um, their BIPOC designer challenge that they did a number of years ago. So there is the hat and the stitch pattern. So that's what I want to do. And I don't know if I was drawn to the hat because of the yellow color and then the yellow yarn. I don't know. Anyways, oh, Liz is giving me Liz is giving me the drum roll. She needs to know if I picked second place. Okay. All right. So 72% of the votes went to the winning yarn this week. So it was a little one-sided, not as bad as it has been. So, Daisy, stay up. So the yarn that I'm going to cast on tonight or tomorrow is teal or yellow, is the teal. Vacay yarn, which is perfect, right? It was vacation yarn, and this is the one that I'm casting on. So I'm super excited to cast this on. Liz, I hope, does that leave you, is your winning streak still alive? So there we go. That's what it's going to be. So I haven't bought the pattern yet, so I haven't actually looked to see what the stitch pattern is. Oh, yes, I did. Yes, I did. This is, well, this is, I don't know what she calls it. This is what I have called the bamboo stitch, I think is what I've always called this. So it's, can you see that? So it's 2 stitches and then you pass one over to give that little horizontal yarn across the bottom of the stitches. So it's a fun little stitch. It's knit on the diagonal. So that's fun. I do remember scanning the pattern and having 2 options. See how you've got the textured pattern and then there's a couple of stitches of stockinette. There is an option where this is the skinny section of stockinette. There is one, I believe, that's wider. So maybe that their sections are equal size. So there was 2 options in there. Oh no, Liz, you did get second place. Your gut said teal, but I went yellow. Well, you can never go wrong with yellow, right? This is so gorgeous. Now, somebody did say in the comments, they're like, they said something about that color of yellow. I'm not going to say what it reminds me of. I hope it looks better in person. It looks lovely in person. I love it. It's a gold, kind of has green undertones. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, so teal is the winning color. I'm super excited. I think the stitch pattern will show up really, really nice in the teal color. And you'll see some progress on it next week. Last week's voting. Okay, so I decided last week was a little chaotic. We'll use chaotic as the word for last week. So I had said when we had podcast live the last time that I was going to record something. Well, the day I was going to record, I woke up with a migraine, so there was no recording happening. And then when I got up north, the reception up there was like really, really poor. So I thought, okay, there's no way a live's probably not going to work. So we just didn't have one, and I just enjoyed my vacation, which was maybe the right choice anyways. So it was great, but you guys did vote. So I had put up a picture of 2 socks. One was, hey Donna. One was called a ribbit sock, and the other was a little lacy shorty sock. So the ribbit sock had what they called a kite heel. So it had the pattern came down the back of the leg and then merged into this really fancy, pretty heel. And then the other pattern was a little shorty sock with a little lace pattern on it. So you guys were voting kind of whether I should do a shorty with lace or a full sock with a really funky cool heel. And the voting, again, most people went one way, and it was for the little green lacy shorty socks. So Rose Merino is the pattern name, and it is looks like it's oops. Yes, it says on here eyelet ankle socks, and it also has bobbles around the cuff. Super, super fun. So let me show you the picture. So I kind of had a feeling that you guys would vote shorty socks because it is summer. So sorry, I know there's a bit of a glare there, but can you see the baubles right around the cuff? And then this little lace pattern, which found interesting because I have always seen that and I've always thought of it, or maybe I've seen it called a teardrop. Like that's what they named the lace pattern. Well, here they're calling it ice cream cones or ice cream cones. And I thought, oh my goodness, when you look at it like that and you hear ice cream cone, it totally looks like ice cream cones, doesn't it? Perfect summer knit and summer shorty socks. So it is super exciting. Can't wait to start that. And it is the designer's name is Sophie Heather Scott, and it is for Pom Pom and Hobby. So it is a free pattern on Ravelry. There. Yeah, it's free, which was a surprise. I went to go purchase it and it was free. I'm like, wow, isn't that nice? After coming back from vacation, not having to buy a pattern, that was like an extra bonus. But I would have either way, I would have got the pattern. So it is I'm excited. My Anyways, I'm super excited to cast this on or to knit it. It is cast on. And work the bobbles. Sometimes, depending on the project, I like bobbles. Sometimes I don't. What is your guys' thoughts? Are you yes to bobbles, no to bobbles, or depends on the project? I'm guessing maybe most people would be depends on the project. And this just around the cuff, I think what a great little placement because you don't have to do too many of them because they are a little fiddly and they take time because you're turning back and forth and whatever. But um, knitting backwards would be that would be a good spot to try your knitting backwards technique on bobbles. Um, yeah, so anyways, fun, fun, fun. And this is the yarn that I picked out. Because it's lace, again, didn't want anything variegated, nothing with really super busy yarn. So I found this in my stash. Superba Premium. Um, I don't remember. I have a feeling this came from a yarn shop in Spun. I'm thinking this came from Spun. I don't even think they're open now. I think maybe they closed. I'm not sure if they just relocated or if they closed last summer or the summer before. And anyways, so again, are we seeing a color trend here, you guys? But I thought these would make really fun shorty socks. So what is this? 100 grams, 380 meters, 70. It's a 75 virgin wool. So this is not superwash. So there you go. That's just your reminder for everybody, right? We're so used to sock yarn just being superwash. And then typically before with sock yarn, I always just looked to see if there was nylon because sometimes, sock yarn, they'll say sock yarn, but it could just mean the weight. And it doesn't always have to have nylon in it. Well, now there's a lot of really nice sock yarns out there for socks that have nylon, but it's not always superwash wool. So I've just been getting in the habit of checking that to see what is, and this does not say, oh no, wait, it did say superwash. Oh, it does. Oh, that's right. It does say on the back, it does not say. It just says virgin wool and nylon. But I was just looking at this when I was holding it up. I saw superwash. I'm like, that did not say that on the label. So there you go. Yep, it is 75% nylon, Nikki. Yep, it's a 75-25. And it does say superwash there. So, okay, that's good. As I was making a mental note, as I was pulling this out off the shelf, I'm like, okay, it's not superwash. I didn't read the front. I just went to the back. So I guess read the whole label. That's our reminder for tonight. Read the whole label. But that's good because then I don't have to remember not to throw it in the dryer or hand wash. Anyways, Lynn says, "Oh, love the pattern and oh, you like the color. Thank you. I'm glad. I know yellow's not for everybody, right? Some people like it, some people don't." Lynn, oh, you like baubles, not across the chest though. See, exactly. That's yeah. Uh, um, yes. What's the word I want to say? All I can think of is improper placement of baubles across the chest could just accentuate. Yes, things that maybe you don't want people staring at, right? I know, I agree, but I think baubles just around the little cuff of a sock will look super cute. And it's not enough to dissuade me from doing the pattern because yes, if it's a sweater that's all covered in baubles, like that's a lot of work. I don't need, well, A, I don't think I would like that. And I don't know if I'd want to sit and knit all of those. But good stuff. Okay. Now you want ice cream. I know, Liz, it's summer. We should all be having ice cream. Anybody else say, oh, okay, Lynn says she likes baubles. Donna is a no. I know. It's one of those things, right? I think a lot of people are just kind of split. So, anyways, I showed you the yarn. The ball's pretty full, so you know that was kind of a dead giveaway. It's not like I have a whole sock knit or anything. It's cast on. This past week, you guys, has been the theme of my knitting last week has been knit it, make a mistake, frog a little bit, pick up stitches, and reknit what you have just pulled out. That has been the overall theme. So I started this. I cast on this, and I only got halfway around and realized I was knitting with the tail. Rookie mistake happens, right? Even though I thought I had double checked, guess not. So, anyway, so I unknit half my row and then I just started it again and then it just got set aside. So I cast it on. So I'm using a little 9-inch circular. It's probably a 2.25 millimeter because that's usually my go-to size for socks. Um, just a regular long tail cast on, just something that's nice and stretchy, makes it easy for getting over your heel for socks. Want stretchy cast on every time. What else? And it's just a Pearl One knit one. So it's a free pattern. So if you guys want to go grab it, put it in your Ravelry library or cast it on and knit it along with me over the next couple of weeks. That would be super fun. We could all have ice cream cone socks for the month of August. Yeah, so it looks like it's going to be easy. It's just a couple of rows of ribbing, and then you do bobbles all the way around. Then you're into the heel. It's a heel flap and gusset. Um, yeah, so it's gonna be fun, and then it's just into the pattern on the leg and the foot. Does look like it's all reverse stockinette stitch, which is typically not my most favorite thing, but it'll be fine for a little shorty pair of socks. I think it'll be just fine. Hi, Kay. I made a sweater with baubles and cables. Never again. Okay, so Kay, why? Was it because it was just intense? Baubles and cables. So that's a lot of chart reading, row counting, paying attention, fiddly baubles, making sure you're not crisscrossing cables. Was it just a lot of brain power? Did you love the sweater when it was done? I hope so, after all that work. Hey, Jocelyn, bubbles and shells are fun anywhere else you're not a fan of. There you go. Yes. See, that would be a good spot for them too. Yeah, I think the sweaters is where I kind of draw the line at baubles. Like I'm thinking even a pillow with baubles, all over baubles, that would be fine because it's not super huge. Oh, Liz, you just turned a heel but didn't feel like picking up gusset stitches. Yeah, sometimes you need just constant like quiet for that, right? Okay, so last week's sock is on the needles. Like even the fact that I found the needle and got it cast on, I've got the pattern ready to go. That is a good start. So now I can just pick it up and carry on. Too much turning cases with baubles. 3 section of patterns. Oh, you wore the sweater yesterday. See, there you go. At least after all that work, you love the sweater. That's great. But yeah, it's one of those things that maybe it's worth it to do it once, or maybe you do it once and then not for a number of years. And then you like, after that memory fades of all the work and all the fiddliness, then you see another really fun pattern and you're like, oh, I could just do that again, right? Okay, what else did I work on? Okay, this project. So, my shawl. You guys all know I always have a boomerang shawl, garter stitch shawl, kind of my go-to, my knit night project. Super easy. Okay, see, as I'm saying, super easy. You never make a mistake. Well, you don't really, because it's only 2 rows. You can look at, you know which row you're doing. It's easy peasy. Like there's no rows to count or charts to read. You just knit, right? Right. Most of the time. I was knitting along on this while I was up at the cottage, chatting with my mom, wasn't paying any attention. I was just knitting. And then either later that night or the next morning, I looked at it and I'm like, darn it. Somewhere like way down here, I had dropped a stitch. And I think I had, or not totally dropped it, but I had split the yarn and maybe just cut one of the plies. And I'm like, "Oh, I can't leave that." So I attempted to fix it. So I laddered down quite a number of rows and I was able to pick it up. Now, picking up a drop stitch and garter stitch is always a little trickier than stockinette. Stockinette, you have all of your horizontal strands to the back of your work. Garter stitch, you have to separate them out. One strand has to go in front, one strand has to go in the back. And they kind of go in pairs all the way up. So it took me a couple of tries because I had just, sometimes I got one twisted around or something. So I went back and dropped it down again, picked it up. And I mean, the picking up is, I mean, it's not hard. It's one of those things once you've had a little practice with it. And let me tell you, I've had a lot of practice. It gets easier as you go along. So I was able to get it all picked up and then, but I looked at it and you could see a visible line. The stitches were just looser. And I tried kind of pulling it around, like as if I was going to block it to see if it would all just kind of block out. And I could still see it. And I set it down, I put it away for the night. And the next morning I thought, okay, I'll look at it in the morning. I think somehow thinking that overnight it would magically look good. And of course it did not. I pulled it out of my knitting bag and I'm like, okay, I'm going to love this. I'm going to love it. And I picked it up and it was like, zoop, there it is. I could see this line down. And I'm like, no. I briefly thought about it and I thought, okay, once I'm wearing it, am I really going to see this? In the end, I decided that because it was a number of rows down, if it had only been a couple, maybe I would have left it, but it was a fair ways down. So I pulled it all out and picked up my stitches. And so I'm just in the process of re-knitting and I still have that much to go. I had to pull it quite a few rows. But I guess the good thing is that I did notice it. It was not that I had gone considerably farther or finished the project and then seen it. I mean, I guess if I had finished the project and seen it, I would have cut a little piece of waste yarn and just picked one side to be the back, and I would have picked it up and wove it in because it was only one ply. So I'm thinking it might have eventually broke. It wouldn't have probably been that strong. I don't know. So, anyways, I guess in the end, it's a good job that I found it now and was able to fix it before going too far. But I did have to pull out quite a bit of rows, which was, it's always a little disappointing when you think that you are just zipping along and getting things, some progress done. I was really trying hard to get this light gray all knit up because I wanted to move into the darker gray here. But when you go backwards in a project, it's hard to move on to the next color. So I am still in anticipation of moving on to the next color, but I will get there hopefully by the end of this week. But it is getting bigger. The yarn is a blend, acrylic cotton blend. The yarn came from Hobby Lobby and it's Yarn Bee yarn. And what was it? Something, something, something. Teal of Fortune is the colorway. Rainbow Rhapsody is the yarn. So if you are a Hobby Lobby yarn shopper, that's what it is. So it's very nice, very soft. It is actually very nice if you know, wool is not something that you can wear. This would be a nice option. And it's like it's 200-gram ball. So it's gonna be a nice big shawl. Okay, you're in Australia. Okay, well, I was wondering if it was like a summer top or but cables and baubles to me it sounds like heavy and chunky. It sounds like a winter's top. So you got in Australia, so you definitely need a nice warm sweater. So it's perfect. Jan says I cord type cables are the best. Okay, so why is that? I don't know if I've ever tried that, Jen. Do you have any other tips about that? That sounds really interesting. Yes, Lynn says it sounds interesting. Lynn and I are on the same thought process here. Yes, that would be fun to investigate. Now, I know in my sock for the bobble, it says that you're just doing knit front and back, then you're turning and you're knitting, you're turning and purling, turning and knitting. So you're making extra stitches knit front and back. I know there's different ways. Sometimes you can do like a knit yarn over knit. So there's all different kinds of ways to make bobbles. So, okay, I'll have to look up the I-cord method. That sounds fun. Okay, so anyways, my shawl, I'm getting lots of knitting time on this. And I will now, I'm happy. I'm glad that I pulled it back because it would always have bothered me just seeing those loose stitches. And when I washed it, would it have blocked out? I don't know if it would have. So this way I just don't have to worry about it. And knitting is knitting. So I'm just getting a little extra fun knitting time with this ball of yarn. This is going to be something I'm going to keep working on. I was hoping to have this done by the end of the month. I don't know if that's going to happen, but that's okay. If it gets done in sometime in August, that'll be fine too. So I worked on two other projects. I worked on Scarlett's little sweater and I worked on another pair of socks. So let's chat about these quickly here. So this is Knit Picks yarn, Hawthorne, DK sock yarn. It's lovely to knit with. And I worked on this while I was away, and I got the whole foot done. I'm ready to do the toes. I did not bring any double pointed needles with me, or because it's on a little short 9-inch circular as well. So I didn't have anything with me to work on the toes. So it's going to sit here, and the toe is going to be this week's project, and then the sock will be done. And then I hopefully will just cast on sock number 2, and we'll be kind of cruising towards a finish at some point. At some point, they're DK socks. I'm not going to need them for a little while, but I'm super excited. Oh wait, I put it away too fast. I did a different kind of heel on this, you guys. Did I talk about this last time? I think I was ready to do the heel when Jocelyn and I were talking about these like a week ago. And so what I ended up doing was the garter stitch short row heel. And it was fun. It was easy. I like it. Um, Now I did end up with 2 little holes on the side. So when I do the second sock, I'm going to have to just be a little more careful of, I don't know, what I was doing. Maybe I didn't read I thought I did. I don't know. Anyways, it's not too bad. It's not too bad at all. I like this. It's just really soft and squishy. So it's fun. I'm on that. My plan is just to do all the heels, all the kind of heels. So this is one more that I can tick off my list. And I like doing it. The short rows were easy on this one. I did put I used a waste yarn, just a little piece of waste yarn, just draped it on either side. So I knew exactly where I was going. So I didn't have to visually look at my stitches to see where the back stitch is, because sometimes that can be hard depending on your stitch or your yarn color. So I just always find it easy just to put a little marker in there and just, you know, where to write to knit to, and then you know which is your next wrap and turn stitch. So that was easy and lots of fun. So I worked on that. The other project I worked on was Scarlett's little sweater. So this one is also a really fun knit. Okay, Jen has given us a little more info about this new bobble. Okay, so it's you increase, then do I cord, then decrease, no turning. Okay, so some super smart person has figured out how to do a bobble without turning. Okay, I love it. I will have to see if I can find a video. I'm sure there's a bunch of them on YouTube. And that would be fun trying. Okay, so now the question is, do I try that or do I just do the bobble the way this pattern says to do it? Because really, would it matter? I don't know. I'm just wondering if it's the number of stitches that you knit the bobble over, if that would just change the placement. You know what I mean, right? I don't know. Maybe I should just do them the way it's written, or maybe I'll do one. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'll throw in an I-cord bobble just for fun because they're for me. Doesn't really matter if they're like matchy or if I have an odd bobble in there, right? I'm not going to worry about that. Um, oh, Liz, thank you so much. Liz says, okay, well, forgive you for not finishing if you didn't have any DPNs. I did not. And I actually looked when I was packing a bag of my knitting to go away for the week. I had my little DPN set and I didn't have the right size. I'm assuming I'm using a 3.25 for my DK socks, and there was no 3.25 DPNs there, so I'm not sure where they are. But I had, believe it or not, though, I had 2.25s and 2.25s, which makes no sense because you would think those would be the ones that would be in use. But nope, it's kind of like Murphy's Law. Whatever size you need will be the size that is not available, right? So, and I didn't want to take time to go looking for like a magic loop needle or something. So I just thought, nope, I took enough other projects with me. And my goal was if I could get the leg done on the sock, that would be fine. And I could deal with the toe when I got home. So I did that. And I actually this always seems to be my problem is that lately I'm knitting the foot almost too long. I am just like knitting round and round and round on the little 9-inch circular. And before I know it, I've gone almost too far. I have my Fish Lips Kiss heel sock number 1 is sitting waiting for the toe, but I think I need to go back and pull it back a couple of rows because I got a little carried away too on that. So I don't know what that's about. Um, making more work for myself by having to adjust the length because I just get in a groove and I'm just knitting round and round, which is why I love the 9-inch circulars. They work so well for me for that. I just feel like I'm just zipping along, but not quite so efficient if you have to backtrack a couple of rows. Okay, so what else? Baby sweater. Baby sweater. This must have been a new start a couple of weeks ago. This is the Norwegian fur baby sweater. So I can't really say baby sweater, you guys, because she's not a baby anymore. Yeah, she's a toddler baby. So I am knitting the biggest size, and there was, what did it go up to? 18 to 24 months, or was it just 18 months? One of those two, whatever was the largest, that's what I'm going with. And I'm using a 4mm needle. The pattern suggested DK weight with a 3.5mm. I went up to a 4mm because I'm thinking she's April, May, June, July, 16 months now. Do a little counting here. She's 16 months. So 18 months is probably just going to fit her. So obviously bigger is better, right? For growing little ones. So I thought, well, whatever. If she wears this for a couple of months, it'll be fine. and it can be put away if there's another baby, or it can be passed on to somebody else. There was just another new little baby born in the family this past weekend. It was another little girl. So this little sweater could maybe be passed on to her for next winter. Anyways, there'll be somebody that can wear it. I'm just having fun knitting it. So the Norwegian fur baby sweater is just a garter stitch sweater. As you can see, it's all knit in the round, top down, and there's raglan increases here that have these pretty little lace patterns that look like little trees. Super cute. This is the only detail on the sweater, and there is one little itty bitty buttonhole. I would have thought the buttonhole would have been bigger. As a lot of the pictures you see, it has like a good sized button on it. I guess maybe pictures can be deceiving, so I don't know. I'll have to see what I can find for a button that will fit through here. But button will be we'll worry about that at the end. I got to get it knit first. So I'm still on ball one. It's going very, very well, except I did have to pull this out as well. I was knitting along and having no troubles. I did not put any stitch markers on here, but so far I have not had any trouble um, with stitch count. So that's been going fine. But what I did notice this afternoon, I was looking at it, admiring my work and thinking, how super cute is this? And on one of the front panels, I noticed a little like blippy thingy. And I'm like, well, what is that? And then again, I'm like, oh no, because that gut feeling is like, oh, I'm gonna have to rip that out. And then I immediately think, ooh, can I fix it? Can I live with it? In the end, I pulled back, I don't know, 6 or 8 rows. And what it was I had again either wasn't I don't think it was quite a drop stitch. I think I had either split the stitch, but anyways, what happened? Like when you see garter stitch here, right? You've got nice garter stitch ridges. They just like nice lines. It looks perfect. Well, this had, it almost looked like a stockinette stitch in there. I don't know. I don't know. It did not look right. And it just interrupted that nice garter stitch ridge row. And to me, it just stuck out. Once I saw it, it just stuck out. So I just pulled the needle out, counted my rows as I was ripping back because you've got to what right because you've got lace in here. So had to know exactly what row I was ripping back to. And so I did that, picked up my stitches, and I'm back. I'm just going to start the row that I ended off with earlier today. So back on track with this too. And it's looking cute. I'm really liking this. I think Anita's going to like this. I think, the color is going to be perfect. And it is superwash. It's Patton's Classic Wool DK Superwash. So that is going well. I'm really happy. I'm having fun with this one. And I think that is all that I worked on for my projects for this week. So I'm just going to keep going with them. See if I can get the sock finished. Get one sock finished. My Fish Lips Kiss heel, I should maybe pull it out at the same time and maybe just be like a toe knitting evening, right? Do my DK, do the Fish Lips Kiss, and then I'll have a finished first sock for both of those pairs, and then immediately cast on sock number 2. I did buy another skein of yarn. So, I should talk about. So when we were away, we went to 2 yarn shops this past weekend. So these 2 that I'm so excited to knit with came from Needle in the Hay. Needle in the Hay? Yes, that's what the yarn shop was called. And it is in Peterborough. It was a fantastic little shop. It had just like this charm when you walked in. It was an older building, and it was one of those ones you walked in and it just felt cozy and was literally floor to ceiling yarn. I don't know. They must have had a ladder somewhere to get the stuff that was up top, but it was just literally floor to ceiling, jammed full of all the yarns. And you know what was the funniest thing? Walked in, and as soon as you walked in the door, there was a display rack of yarn. when you know it, it was Leo and Roxy basic sock yarn. I thought, what are the odds you go to a new city and you go check out a brand new yarn shop, and the very first yarn I see is from my local yarn shop. So it's yeah, so anyways, that was fun. So we had a little chat that oh, what did I say? A needle in the hay. A needle in the hay. I've got the receipt here. Let me just make sure. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. Needles in the hay. Needles in the hay. She had been to the Kawartha yarn show and had been vending there. So, anyways. Oh, Susanna, you have to go. We will see you next week. Have a great week. Anyway, she was a lovely young woman running the store. She had beautiful, beautiful yarns, gorgeous sock yarn. I actually went in looking for some DK sock yarn. Solids or tonals was what I was looking for, and then instead came out with some, well, worsted, supposed to be DK, but we'll fiddle with that and make it work. Oh, there you go, Jocelyn. Exactly. Just say small human. That works for all. That's right. Small human size. Anyway, so it was, yeah, it was a lovely shop. As soon as the first thing I walked in, I saw the Leo and Roxy basics yarn there. And then they had another kind of a kit. It was a crocheted shawl, just a big triangle shawl, but it was very lacy crochet, I guess. I don't know, you guys. I'm not a crocheter, so I can't really talk to what the stitch was, but it was very, very pretty, and it was made with a cotton linen yarn. That caught our attention. We stopped and we looked at that for a long time. And but then neither one of us bought it, but it would have been a really fun project. Now, I was thinking, don't get carried away. Don't think I was going to crochet it. I mean, I maybe could, and someday I should try another crochet project. But what I was I was looking at the pattern and thinking, okay, this is lace. There is like it looks, there's like a bazillion lace patterns that would look like this. Like it was a whole, it was lace. Thinking I could knit something exactly like this. So that was that was my thought process was, could I get the yarn and then just come up with a lace pattern and knit it and come up with the same effect? I totally could. But then in the end, I didn't do it. So all I came home with from that shop was these two skeins. Um, yeah, it was very well behaved, but there was a lot of beautiful yarns there, some yarns that I hadn't seen before, which is always fun. So it is definitely a shop. If I'm ever back up around that area, I would definitely go back. There was another yarn shop in Peterborough, but we did not get to it. So maybe another time I'll check that one out. The other one we went to was in another little town. Hold on. I just dropped this yarn. And they're all like little cottagey beach towns up there. And this one was called Happenstance Yarn and Book. So it was a bookstore, and then in the back of the bookstore, she had some yarn. Not a big selection, but a good selection. You know, so she had some sock yarn. She had a little bit of everything. There was some Briggs and Little yarn, which was really fun. She had some summer yarn, some cotton linen blends. Yeah, it was a good, and she had a good selection of knitting books and other books. We looked through some of the other books too, and it was, yeah, it was like really, really cute little store. The other half of the building was a bake shop, you guys. Oh my goodness. So many kinds of butter tarts over there. It was lovely. So what again, I was looking for solids and tonals. She didn't have a big selection of solid and tonal sock yarn. She had a lot of really pretty self-striping and variegateds, but that wasn't what I was looking for. So I ended up getting the Barocco Vintage. Now this is a wool acrylic nylon blend. And typically that's not something that I would pick. I would always just go nylon and nylon and wool. But I thought, you know what? I'm going to try this. I'm curious because I'm pretty sure I have not knit with vintage sock before. So I thought it would be a good experiment, see how I like knitting with it and whether I keep this for myself May give this to my daughter and see if she will wear it. Probably have to be a little shorty pair of socks for her. And anyways, I'm wondering if it might be something maybe with the it's not so woolly. Anita might like it, maybe a little better. I'm not sure. So anyway, I thought, well, I will give it a try. So I got pink, something a little not usually my color palette, but I'm starting to enjoy pinks a little bit more. So I thought I would get that and do a gift pair of socks, probably. I don't know. Haven't totally decided. Part of me is like maybe I'll keep them for me. But at some point I'm gonna have to start giving some of these away. I can't keep everything for me, can I? I could, but I don't think I will. Anyways, so that was it. I only got 3 skeins of yarn while I was away, you guys, because I'm really wanting to knit with my stash. Really wanting to knit with my stash. So I'm gonna start doing that. Somehow get a little bit of order in my stash and organize it yet again. I think that is always a job that we're always doing, isn't it? I feel like every once in a while we just always have to go in and reorganize the stash and see what we've got again, see what we can knit with, and kind of get a plan. So I don't think I will ever say I'm never going to buy yarn. Now, Jessica, who um she was one of the winners in the Fiber Friends. We did a draw for last month's um winners for what was made the get her done, and she went. And on her project page, she had said she has gone what 8 months, I think that probably since January, 7 months, and not bought any yarn. She is knitting completely from her stash, and so I think her plan is to go right till the end of the year. Anyways, I thought that is like very inspirational, very good. But yeah, will I do that? I don't think so. I tried doing that once a couple of years ago. I only got a couple of months and it was totally torture. So I don't think I'm ever going to do that. But I am really happy that I just bought projects, yarn with projects in mind, and didn't get totally carried away with all the pretty yarns and came home with a lot of things that I didn't have a plan for. So I think that is what I'll say my yarn shopping is going to be going forward is just really try for specific projects, and we'll see how that goes. And then see if I can get a dent in my actual stash that I've got. Oh, hi, Nancy. Hi. Oh, I've had that happen. I think it's had something to do with not knitting the stitch correctly. Okay, so it's like having that, like the garter stitch. Yeah, and I think that's what it was because when I looked at that stitch in the little sweater, the garter stitch, it almost looked like it had split because it it yeah, I think, and that but then when I pulled it out, like, immediately that one little ply must have came out and the stitch dropped down, so I had to actually pick it up. But yeah, so I did something and it just did not look right. That's for sure. Anyways, okay, so that is that, you guys. I did a little yarn shopping. Um, I worked on a lot of fun projects. So I'm gonna get my whiteboard updated here. It's sort of kind of up to date. There's a few things I have to put in there, but I'm gonna add the last couple weeks projects on there. See if I finished any that I can check off, and then when we get to the end of July, we'll do a little recap of the whiteboard and what projects are finished and what are still on the needles because we're in the second half of the year already. Time just goes by so quick. So I'm going to see what I can do, try to get a few more things finished, reclaim some needles so then I can just keep casting on. That's my plan. And start thinking about holiday gift knitting. Has anybody thought really serious about that? I know there's always some of you who are so organized and have already been working on gifts and you're well ahead of a lot of us, but I am starting to think about it, which this is pretty early for me. I usually am always starting it way later than I should, and every year I'm like, why do I do this to myself? So this is the year I'm going to try to be a little more organized and have a little more time so I can get more done and not be rushed. We'll see. Oh, Jocelyn, you love Barocco vintage. Okay, fantastic. Thank you for letting me know that. Liz, the only yarn you bought recently has been for gifts. I recently destashed a lot of yarn. See, and that must feel good, right? It always feels good to buy all the yarn. Like, I mean, yarn shopping is fun, right? We love it. It's pretty. We buy it, bring it home, and then it goes sits in our stash. And then it feels good when you can clear it out, whether if you knit it and gift it or just pass the yarn along to somebody else who can use it. It's always a good feeling. And that just kind of gives you some breathing space, doesn't it? Yeah, that's why I want to start working on getting a dent in my stash. So we will see how that goes. Sometimes what I want to do and what I get done are two different things, but I'm going to try a real push, maybe starting in the fall, do a bit of a more of a focus on stash yarn, which is bad timing because that's when the fiber festivals start. Well, I want to say they start up again. There is one coming the August long weekend, but I'm always away that weekend, so there's no yarn shopping for me that weekend. So the next two festivals that I'm going to, there's one the beginning of September in Kitchener, the Knitters Fair, and then in October is Woolstock in Paris. So those are what kind of I always think of those as the next yarn show, kind of the fall festival season for us around here. And then of course there's Rhinebeck. Yeah, so well, I don't know. We'll figure that out. Maybe there'll be a little bit of shopping at the yarn festivals, but not so much at yarn shops, and then mostly work through my stash. That's I think that's probably what it will be like. Well, you guys, this has been a fun Monday night. Thank you so much for joining me and chatting in the comments and for everybody who voted. So teal it is. Vacay. Love that. That's going to be so gorgeous knit up. This yarn feels so nice. I mean, it's rusticy because it is 100% wool, but oh, it's gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. I cannot foresee any issues of why I would not love this yarn. And I'm already okay. I did. How many minutes have passed since I said I was going to knit from stash? And now I'm just about to say, I'm wondering, I'm looking to see if I can maybe do an online order for more of this. Oh well, it's balance. It's balance, right? What can you do? Okay, everybody. Thank you for joining me. I think this Friday is Jocelyn and I. So I think that's right because we did not chat this past Friday. So I think this coming Friday is Jocelyn and I's um just knit night. So we will be back Friday night. I'm pretty sure I will post about it, but I'm pretty sure it worked. The weeks worked out even. It was 2 weeks and we're in the middle of the month. So I think we'll be back Friday night to end off the work week. And we'll catch up with you then. So, everybody, have a fantastic week. Get lots of knitting done. Enjoy the summer weather. And we will see you next Monday with more voting and another project. Have a great week, everybody. Good night.